Hello again everyone, and welcome to another MonMae tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll go over how to install GitHub Desktop for source control, how to add MonMae to a repository, and how to make and undo changes to MonMae using source control. Let's jump right into it. The very first thing you want to do is to grab GitHub Desktop from desktop.github.com. Once you have it, go through the installation process. Next, you'll want to create an account at github.com by going to sign up and then going through the sign up process. Now that you have GitHub Desktop installed, we'll want to make our very first repository. If you go to File and you click on New Repository, we can start the process. The first thing we want to do here is to make sure we have a source control folder. And we want to make sure that path is the one that's set for this repository, and probably for all of your repositories. So here I corrected this path because it's not always set. This is the source control folder. And here I'm going to make my MonMae folder. I set it as a name. You can set an optional description as well, and we're going to create it. This repository will hold my MonMae project for me. Now so far we've only created the folder that will hold our project. And you can see here in the history this is our initial commit, but the actual folder is still empty. So you most likely already have your MonMae project somewhere installed on your computer. Basically, you want to go to that folder, the one holding your entire project, and copy it. Once it's copied, we'll now move over to the source control folder. In my case, this folder holds all of my repositories. So simply look for MonMae. This is the MonMae folder, so just right-click right here and paste the MonMae project. It'll take a few minutes or a few seconds if you're copying it, or if you're cutting it and it's on the same drive, it'll save you a little bit of time since you won't have to copy it. But for my sake, I wanted to just copy it over. Once it's copied over completely, ensure that everything in your project is correct. If everything looks good, we'll now go back into GitHub Desktop. Upon opening GitHub Desktop, if you're on the MonMae repository, you'll notice all these changes. All of these files are from the project you just added to the repository folder, the one that's in source control. Basically, everything in your project is here, and now you have to commit these changes. In order to submit a commit, we have to give a title or summary and then a description. The description is optional. Here I'm just going to say it's going to be our first MonMae commit. Then you just click commit. But keep in mind, this is over 3,000 changed files. If it was only 1 or 2 files, this would take less than a minute. But since this is 3,400 plus files, it may take up to 20 or 30 minutes. But all of this is to ensure that your project will never be completely lost and it'll be safe on the cloud. Once your commit is done, you'll notice the entire list just vanished. But if you go into your history, you'll now see this first commit we did, along with all the details of what changed during this commit. Now this commit is only local, which means that we still have to publish it to the cloud. So if you go to your changes and then go to where it says publish repository, we can now add the details to publish this repository onto GitHub. So if you click the button, we now have the option to enter a name and a description. Of course, we want to add this repository to github.com, and we want to keep it private because we don't want to share it with anyone else. So once you're done with the description, and you enabled the Keep Private option, just click on Publish Repository, and it'll begin the process of publishing this in GitHub. Now the same thing will apply as it did when you did the commit. Depending on the size, it can take a few minutes to publish this on GitHub. Once the pop-up disappears, it means it did finish, but sometimes there's a visual glitch that shows it like you haven't published it yet. So just click on your history to make sure that all the changes were accepted. And then if you go back to changes, the prompt will go away. Just make sure in history that it's all there. That means it did commit. If you're still not sure, we can check this on GitHub. Over on GitHub Desktop, if you're signed in, you can go right to the top right and go to your repositories. Here we see that MonMae was successfully uploaded. Now if we enter MonMae, you can see here all the files that were in that source control folder are now successfully uploaded to this GitHub repository. They are safe in the cloud, and any changes you make to your project won't affect the one on the cloud unless if you commit and then push the changes. Back in GameMaker, we want to open the project in our source control folder, not the one we were previously using. So make sure you're inside source control and open the MonMae project from there. Once that's done, we can now start working with MonMae with source control enabled. Alright, so what can you do with source control? Well, when you're working with your project, sometimes mistakes happen. Well, let's say here one of our mistakes would be, let's say we delete our start game script by accident. Oh no, we didn't notice. What if we destroy our enum as well? Yikes, we just deleted those. Our project is gonna be destroyed if we end up saving. Oh no, I just saved. It's ruined, right? Okay, well, if we exit this and then we realize our mistake, we can still salvage the project because we have a backup on the cloud. So here in GitHub Desktop, we can see these changes that happened to this project, and well, we don't really like them because these were deleted. We don't want that to happen. So what can we do? Well, we can either discard the changes by selecting them. All the ones that we want to undo, we just discard the changes. Like so. But what if there's still some changes that we didn't even know happened to the project? Well, if everything you want to do was a mistake, just discard all the changes. And now the project is as it was before you did anything to it. Going back to GameMaker, we can now check and see that both the scripts we had deleted earlier are now fully restored to the project. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in more MonMae tutorials.